The rain hammered Chicago that Wednesday, turning the Eisenhower Expressway into a churning river of asphalt. I was behind schedule, battling the deluge and the gnawing anxiety of a long-haul trucker facing a tight deadline. All I wanted was fuel, coffee, and to get that load to its destination before dawn. Pulling into a sprawling truck stop, the kind that guarantees decent coffee and a clean restroom, I grabbed a cup and fought off the drowsiness. That's where I saw her, a nun, seated alone near a window fogged with rain. She was shrouded in gray habit and a white veil. But it wasn't just the attire. There was a lostness in her eyes, a disconnect, as if she inhabited a reality invisible to the rest of us. Time seemed to move differently around her. A gut feeling, that primal sense that something's profoundly wrong, clenched my stomach. Approaching cautiously, I offered a hesitant, "Evening, sister," waiting for someone. Her response was slow, confused. "I'm trying to get home," she said, her voice a fragile whisper. "But I seem to be lost. I don't know where I am." 75 years old, frail, hands trembling slightly, yet speaking with a quiet dignity. There was a purity about her. I sat down, a silent witness to her bewilderment. The recognition hit me like a punch. Alzheimer's. I'd seen it steal my grandfather's memories, leaving him adrift in the fog of his own mind. This woman was profoundly lost, alone in the teeming city, without identification, phone, or anyone to turn to. The clock was ticking. My delivery deadline loomed, the threat of financial penalties and my boss's wrath hanging heavy. But leaving her there, exposed to the elements and the indifferent roar of the city, it wasn't an option. I did what any decent human being would do. "Sister," I said, "let me give you a ride. I'm heading out of town, and we can try to figure out where this convent is. What do you say?" Her eyes, like pools reflecting a sudden glimmer of hope, held a gratitude that transcended words. "God bless you, son," she murmured, a weary but sincere smile gracing her lips. That night, in a nameless truck stop, began one of the most unexpected and life-altering journeys of my life. Helping a lost old woman seemed simple enough, but I had no idea how profoundly that trip would change me, the unforeseen challenges it would bring. The wipers fought a losing battle against the downpour as we pulled away. The rhythmic swish blended with the hum of the engine and the nun's quiet presence. She gazed out the window, searching the city's dark heart for a lost path. How do you ask someone where they live when they don't even know themselves? "Sister," I ventured gently, "can you remember any street names, any landmarks you saw?" She frowned, lost in thought. There was a park, children playing, a church with blue stained glass windows, a statue of St. Francis. He had a bird in his hand, a wolf at his feet, and the gardens, so many trees, the smell of jasmine. It was little, but it was a start. The description sparked a memory, a convent outside Milwaukee, where I'd made a delivery once. It wasn't a sure thing, but it was a lead. I switched off the radio, preferring the quiet hum of the engine and the occasional whispers of her memories. She would lapse into silence, lost in fleeting recollections that ebbed and flowed like the passing streetlights. "What's your name, sister?" She smiled. "Beatrice, but some call me Beth. I don't remember everything, but I remember caring for the children, the youngest ones, the ones who were afraid of the dark. I used to tell them stories." "Did you always live at the convent?" "I entered at 18. I think I never really left. I've been hardened by the road, the endless miles, the tight deadlines, the gnawing fear of highway robbery, the sleepless nights. My heart had grown a thick skin. Then I met her. She looked at me with a mixture of regret and childlike innocence, a gaze that chipped away at that armor bit by bit, while I, lost in my own world, didn't even notice until it was too late to turn back. Her gentle voice, soft as a summer breeze, cut through me like a knife. She spoke in fragments, like autumn leaves skittering across a pavement, stories of her life that shook me to my core. I promised her I'd find her convent, a promise whispered between us, sealed by a simple touch, her hand, small and frail, resting lightly on the gear stick, a gesture of profound trust and a weight of responsibility that settled heavily on my shoulders. Truthfully, I had no idea where this convent was, but I knew I had to get her home. The hours ticked by, my delivery deadline long past, but each time the pressure mounted, I'd look at Sister Beatrice, tiny and serene, her fingers tracing the beads of her ancient rosary. And remember why I was doing this. We stopped at a dusty roadside diner near Junjai. While she ate a meager meal, bread and lukewarm milk, I frantically called convents, describing her, praying for a lead. Most said no, but then a nervous voice on the other end of the line asked, "Did you say Beatrice? Gray habit, white veil, over 70. Yes, I choked out. She's with me now." Silence. Then a muffled sob. "She disappeared yesterday. We've searched everywhere, called hospitals. We didn't know what to do." A shiver ran down my spine. "She's fine. We're taking her back." I said, "Your prayers were answered. I'm bringing her home." The directions came fast. Santa Clara Convent, Indaya Tuba. IT was a huge detour, a massive blow at my already shattered schedule, but at that moment, my impending doom at the company office felt insignificant. I glanced at Sister Beatrice. She looked different, calmer somehow. "We found your home," I said, a genuine smile cracking my hardened facade. She simply closed her eyes and leaned her head against the seat, finally at peace. The road stretched before us again, but it wasn't just cargo I carried anymore. It was a mission. The sun broke through morning clouds, illuminating the highway, even as my head remained a whirlwind of impending disaster. The deadline loomed, the fines mounted with every mile, but honestly, I didn't care. Seeing her sleeping peacefully, for the first time since I'd picked her up, made it all worthwhile. She woke up 20 minutes from the convent, her eyes still sleepy, but with newfound sparkle. "Are we there?" she asked. "Almost," I replied, grinning. "Your sisters are waiting." She nodded, an unnerving calmness in the face of recent chaos, then said something I'll never forget. "I knew God would send someone. I just didn't expect it to be a trucker who smells of diesel and has a heart of gold." I chuckled, embarrassed but profoundly moved. We arrived around 1. It was a humble place. Low walls, a small chapel, and that garden she described so vividly, complete with a statue of St. Francis, bird in hand, wolf at his feet, just as she remembered. Her heart quickened, and so did mine. Before the truck even came to a complete stop, the gates swung open, and 3 nuns rushed toward us, one of them an older woman in a white habit who embraced Sister Beatrice, like a mother reunited with her lost child. "Beatrice!" she cried, tears streaming down her face. Sister Beatrice descended slowly, leaning on my arm, then walked toward them. The embrace was long, silent, and deeply meaningful. I stood there beside the truck, fighting back tears. One of the nuns approached me, her voice thick with emotion. "You have no idea." My phone finally rang, a godsend after a frantic, sleepless search. We'd been about to call the cops when it vibrated, breaking the tension that had been tightening like a vice all night. Beatrice, bless her sweet soul, had wandered off. Alzheimer's is a cruel thief, slipping away like smoke. She's precious to them, you know? The sisters, they all adored her. She'd always looked out for them. Now it was their turn. But there she was, sitting on a bench, surrounded by the sisters, a smile lighting up her face. A profound peace settled over me, that quiet satisfaction of doing the right thing, even when nobody's watching. The Mother Superior approached. "John, dear, please come in. Coffee, a rest, a blessing." I appreciated the offer, but I was running seriously behind. Deadlines are deadlines. Missing this delivery would cost me big time. "I understand," she said, "but in God's eyes, your most important delivery is already made." I left the convent of Santa Clara with a full heart, but the clock was ticking. My GPS screamed a 2-hour delay. The cargo wasn't perishable, but the client was a stickler, and the company, well, they're even stricter. Even flooring it, I knew I was in for a world of hurt. My phone buzzed. 3 missed calls from dispatch, a text. "John," the client's apoplectic, "over 2 hours late. Brace for a penalty." I swallowed hard. I'd always been reliable, a company man, but this time I'd chosen differently. My wallet might be hurting, but my conscience was clear. I delivered the shipment. The receiver just signed and said, "Your boss will be calling." 5 minutes later, the call came. "John, what in God's name happened?" You vanished. No contact. Hours late. You're looking at a written warning and a hefty fine, no exceptions. I took a deep breath. No excuses. If I had to do it all over again, I said, I'd do exactly the same. I brought a lost Alzheimer's patient back to her convent. She'd been wandering around a gas station in Chicago. Had I left her, she might have ended up another headline. Silence. We'll talk tomorrow. He hung up. Exhausted but at peace, I showered, ate lightly, and slept like a log. The next morning, the unbelievable happened. A call from an unknown number. Hello. I rasped, Mr. John, this is Mother Superior from the convent of Santa Clara. I apologize for the early call, but something remarkable has occurred. A shiver ran down my spine. I braced myself for anything, but not what came next. Sister Beatrice woke up today, completely lucid. She remembered your name, your truck, the entire journey back from the gas station. She said you were the diesel angel God sent. She'd even written me a letter by hand. More, she'd gathered the sisters in chapel last night and, for the first time in months, led prayers with perfect clarity. What you did, Mr. John, was more than just bringing her back. You brought her back to us. I was speechless, could only stammer. I don't know what to say. Then just listen. You have a special place in our prayers. Always. And if you're ever in the area again, our door and our coffee are always open. I hung up, sat on the bed, phone clutched in my hand, staring at the ceiling. I pictured Sister Beatrice's smile, her calling me Diesel Angel, and for the first time in ages, I cried. Not sadness, not weariness, but gratitude. The trucking life is a relentless grind of deadlines, pressures, and broken promises. But that day, everything clicked into place. Yes, I got a fine, a warning. But I gained something no company, no shipment, no boss could ever give me. The feeling of having been, for a moment, someone's lifeline. And sometimes that's all that matters. Days later, I was back on the road, a tightness in my chest, but not from the company's wrath, the fine, the delay. It was something else, a different kind of quiet inside. That journey with Sister Beatrice had carved out a space I didn't know existed, but now was undeniably part of me. At every stop, I'd remember her lost eyes at rainy night, the way she gripped my hand. A simple gesture, yet it resonated deeper than anything I'd experienced before. The road stretched endlessly, but each mile, each delivery, became a reminder of that day's serenity. I could have prioritized the bottom line, but instead, I chose a different road, far more important than any material reward. And with each memory, each time I revisited that moment of eye contact, I felt that same peace, that same gratitude, that same certainty that life sometimes surprises us with unexpected opportunities to perform acts of love that forever change our lives and the lives of those around us. My trips to see Sister Agnes were my secret. Nobody at the trucking company knew about the frail, forgetful nun at Santa Clara Convent, my own little sanctuary. Sometimes she'd call me my driver, other times Joseph on the road, and that was enough. The sisters always greeted me with warm coffee, homemade cookies, and a peace you just don't find on I-40. It was a refuge, a place where the constant hum of the highway faded to a whisper. The Mother Superior once said something that stuck with me. Some loads you carry in your truck, others you carry in your heart. That visit changed everything. Suddenly, Sister Agnes wasn't about deadlines or delivery slips. It was about humanity, about being in the right place at the right time, and having the guts to do what's right, even if it seemed crazy. Then came the call from my supervisor. I braced myself for a dressing down, but he just stared at me for a long moment before saying, Joseph, the convent sent a letter. Your actions, well, they impressed the higher-ups. No warning, and you got a promotion? A better route, better pay. I was speechless. It felt like every selfless act had come back to me tenfold. I'm still Joseph on the road, still fueled by strong coffee, country music, and missing my family. But something shifted inside me after Sister Agnes. Now, when I see someone alone at a truck stop or hear a driver talking about someone struggling, I think of her. The road's still long, but I know now that sometimes life's most important deliveries aren't on the GPS. They're waiting on a bench in the rain, hoping someone will see them. Someone will stop. Someone will help. If you made it this far, remember this. If you're ever in a hurry but your heart tells you to stop for someone, stop. You might just be about to embark on the most important journey of your life. Whether you drive a truck or not, you face that crossroads, choosing between what's right and what's urgent. Share this if it resonated with you. And if you want more true stories from the American highways, tales of grit, grace, and the unexpected kindness that binds us together, subscribe to this channel. Because sometimes we don't just haul freight, we carry stories, the very essence of the human journey, the moment of compassion that transform lives and connect us on the lonely stretches of asphalt. That's what makes this hard, beautiful road worth driving day in, day out. It's more than just moving cargo. It's moving hearts, one load at a time.